Where's the killer at, man? I need to get these gens done as quick as possible, man. I'm scared for my life, bro. I'm scared, man. What is this? What is this thing? Was that the killer? Did I just kill him? Let's go, baby. We're making it out the hood with this one. Let's go.
Oh, man. You chatting shit, man.
What?
You chatting shit.
What?
You chatting shit, man. That's my little brother you took, man.
Please, average British person, please don't kill me. Your teeth look great. I promise. No. No.
What'd you just say about my teeth, man?
Your teeth look great, man.
Shut up, man. Fucking bastard. Teach him a lesson, Victor.
As a new player to a Dead by Daylight experience, I have far more trouble getting wins as a survivor than I do when I play as the killer. And in this video I aim to talk about why Survivor seems so much more difficult at first, when the general consensus of high ranked players seems to be that the survivors always have the upper hand. I mean, seriously though, every single DBD video I watch, it seems agreed upon that an elite group of survivors will always beat the killer, unless they are specifically playing as nurse. So I will be making this video with the assumption we are ignoring the horrors that are competitive nurse players. I think the first and most obvious thing that we need to bring up is just map knowledge.
If there's a place you gotta go, I'm the one you need to know. I'm the map.
Played about 6 hours of Survivor total, and I've maybe encountered the same map twice at most in that time period, meaning that I have no clue where pallets are, vaults, drops, or even good areas to loot the killer. This might be the single most important thing when it comes to the change of advantage between playing as the killer compared to a survivor. When I play as a killer on maps I'm unfamiliar with, I can just ignore pretty much everything and just chase after the survivor, slowly catching up no matter what because of my faster movement speed. But when you're playing as a survivor, you have to know where to go in order to try to increase the distance between you and the killer as much as possible, or just prolong the chase while your teammates work on gens. Knowing where vaults and pallets are as a killer are important, but not nearly as important as it is for the survivor to know where these objects are at. As a survivor, you must do your best to lead the killer to tight quarters with objects to tightly run around in order to prolong the chase, while as a killer, you simply just need to chase after the survivor. So right off the bat, not knowing every map like the back of your hand puts the survivor at a heavy disadvantage, while a killer who's unfamiliar with the map is much less affected in these early stages of the game with less elite players. I don't know how many times I've been playing as a survivor and actually ran to a dead zone where I had no chance to evade the killer or extend the chase, simply because I wasn't familiar with the map. Honestly, in my personal opinion, this might be the biggest factor in Survivor feeling so difficult and hopeless at first. I mean, running around in an unfamiliar area with the killer gaining on you constantly just feels terrible and almost unfair at first. The next point I'd like to bring up revolves around the understanding of a killer's different abilities.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
There are 33 different killers, all with different abilities, and understanding the abilities of the killer you're going against is an extremely important aspect of the game. As a new killer, the survivors will always have similar abilities and generally even use similar perks that you can always be prepared for. But as a survivor, chances are you're going to be facing a new killer almost every other match. Just to play each killer twice, it would take 66 matches. And with each match taking anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes on average, that's a lot of playtime to just have the most basic of understanding of what each killer does. I would argue it would take at least 10 matches against one killer to have a deep understanding of their abilities and how their perks amplify said abilities. If you apply that to every killer, that's 82.5 hours of active survivor gameplay to understand every killer ability with some type of depth. As a survivor with just over 6 hours of gameplay, you can imagine my confusion when I face killers like the Singularity, Blight, Pyramid Head, and Pig in 4 straight games. Each of these killers have wildly different abilities. Each ability is absolutely game-changing. The Survivor's tutorial does absolutely nothing to prepare you for all the abilities the killers may use, and going into every game fearing a new type of ability will be used heavily increases the difficulty as a survivor when you first start out. When you combine being unfamiliar with different maps and also being unfamiliar with what the killer might hit you with, it becomes almost impossible for a new survivor to have any potential in living through a chase or even extending that chase to a meaningful amount of time. My third reason for Survivor seeming so much more difficult at first is that you have so much more on your plate. As a killer, you only have to focus on yourself and how you're going to game in the survivors. But as one of those survivors, you have to juggle a lot more things. Things like when you should look for a hook save, when you and your ally should heal, when it's safe to work on a gen, and when you should leave said gen. Not to mention you have to worry about what your teammates are doing the entire time as well. Which leads me to my next point. You have to rely on teammates if you have any hope of winning the game.
Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up, everybody, do your share.
At the higher levels, it's likely that most teams are on comms, or at the very least have a decent understanding on how to loop and avoid the killer. In less experienced stages of gameplay, it's extremely common for survivors to die quickly while barely distracting the killer. This immediately cripples the entire survivor team and causes the speed at which gens are finished to be slowed monumentally. Not to mention how much time new survivors will waste attempting to save a hooked teammate. As a new killer, you don't have to rely on someone else to reach success, but as a survivor, you can play extremely well, but for it to ultimately not matter if all your teammates play terrible. My last point, and the most simple one of them all, is the more you play, the better you'll understand the controls of the game and how to use them. For example, it's very difficult for me to run forward with my camera turned towards the killer and chases without running into things. While for a much more skilled player, this would be absolute light work. Along with skill checks, while I usually hit most of them, the more you play, the less likely you are to miss skill checks and give away your position to the killer. Basically, the more you play, the more skill you'll have. As a new killer, you can pretty much hold W and hit the attack button to win against unexperienced survivors. While as a survivor, you have to be able to do so many things effectively just to survive a killer holding W and nothing else. As a brand new player of DBD, these are all my reasons for finding Survivor so much more difficult at first than the killer. The highest level, I understand that a huge amount of skill is required for both the killer and survivors to win, but at mine, I find the survivor role having a much higher skill floor than the killer. Everything I've said in this video is essentially just based off my experiences playing as both killer and survivor. I played around both for about 6 hours and have about the equal amount of experience in both of them. And yeah, guys, I just want to make this video because I wanted to vent about how much I lose as a survivor, even when I'm playing with my homie Zony, which I play a lot on stream. If you guys want to go check out the streams, come check them out. But I play with my friend a lot, we're on comms, and we still almost lose every single game just because I don't really know what I'm doing, or I can't do what I'm doing well, or maybe even if I have a good game, which happens every once in a while, he always has a good game, our teammates will either leave the game and stick us with bots, or they'll just play badly and get killed, which eventually gets us killed. I mean, I don't know. To me, just personally, Survivor seems a lot harder at first, but everything I hear about in the later stages of the game, that kind of turns around and makes the killers more difficult. But I plan on keep playing this game a ton. Hopefully I eventually become one of the best survivors there are out there. Stay blessed, everybody. Stay happy, everybody. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Be happy. Be blessed. Peace out.